prince and princesses must come out of Babylon. And Ethiopia shall stretch forth their hands unto the Almighty I, Hail I, Selassie I the First. O thou Jah Rastafari of Ethiopia, I divine majesty. The high now come into I and I heart, dwell in the path of righteousness. So lead I and help I to forgive, that I may be forgiven. Teach I love and loyalty in this earth, as it is in Mount Zion. Endow I with thy wise mind, knowledge, and understanding to do thy will. And thy blessings to I to let the hungry be fed, the naked clothed, the sick nourished, the aged protected, the infants cared for, shelterless shelter, and the ignorant instructed. O deliver I from the hands of I enemies, that I may prove fruitful within these the last days, when I enemies are past and decayed, the depth of the sea, the depth of the earth, the belly of the beast, and the lake of fire and brimstone. So grant I a place within the high vine, Kingman, now and forever, Selah. Through the powers of the Most High, Hail I, Selassie I, Jah Rastafari. This is Rastafari Rising. Give thanks and praises. Hail I, Selassie I the First. Your time now. This is Rastafari. Yes, this is Rastafari Rising. I'm your host, Ras Amlak, and I is here with another Iowa of Rastafari Rising. This is I forum where I really sit up and reason of the matters that pertains to Rastafari. I, Selassie I the First, as it pertains to man, as it pertains to woman, as it pertains to children, I black nation, and humanity as a whole. I, Selassie I the First. So I give thanks for this is a very blessed Iowa. Isis, Rastafari. And within this light of Rastafari, I are most honored by the distinguished presence of two very special guests where we have today. Eli, Rastafari. I first guest is going to be the international president of the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated, Empress Ima Young, who will be with I, Rastafari. And as well, on Rastafari Rising this light will be no other than Muta Baruka, Eli, Selassie I the First. So, brethren and sistren, sit up and pay very careful attention. Rastafari. Isis, Rastafari. So kill, cramp, and paralyze all weak heart conception. Stand firm in the Gideon, my people. And join I with the most Isla welcoming to I guest Empress Ima Young, Ili, International President of the Ethiopian World Federation.
We, the black people of the world, in order to effect unity, solidarity, liberty, freedom, and self-determination, to secure justice and maintain the integrity of Ethiopia, which is our divine heritage, do hereby establish and ordain this Constitution for the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated. Give thanks, Brother Amlak.
Blessed, Rastafari. Yes, I is most honored always that you can have the time within your busy schedule to come here and to be upon Rastafari Rising, to really share within the integrity of the love and the fellowship and the solidarity of this present moment. And I really give thanks that you can be here, Empress Ima. The sound where you just blocked a while ago, I believe that is the preamble to the Constitution.
Yes.
Of the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated. Perhaps you could inform some of our viewers at home as to, or even elaborate upon some of those principles that you just really expounded upon. Because you touched upon some very, very, very serious words sound there.
Well, the first one is unity. You know, without unity, nothing else can work.
It's true.
So even in that light, I would like to say that this is a historical occasion, because this is the first time the president of the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated has been a woman. And at this time is necessary for it to be a woman, because the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated, as well as all black people of the world, need nurturing. And through that nurturing, because of the experiences and the hell and the fires that we've gone through while we're here, we need to heal. So it's quite natural that the mother does that nurturing. And in that nurturing, prayerfully, we will get the unity. And then from that unity, you know, freedom could be attained in a day and a night. But first, the unity must come. And that's hard for us as a people. It's not that it's something that's just unique to the Ethiopian World Federation, but also to our people as a whole.
So you're saying, as a mother, you're saying that the man is too stubborn? Well,
I'll just say that we're all stubborn. You know, while being out here, we've picked up a lot of ills and ill ways that sometimes we find that we're holding on to those ways. You know, for instance, as maybe some of your viewers don't know, but a lot of your viewers do know, that the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated has been in court. We've been in court in and out for, you know, several years now. And still, it's, you know, at what point are we going to stop going to someone else to solve our problems?
Right.
And then when we do get a ruling, then if you don't like the ruling, then you take your marbles and your friends and you go play in another circle. You know, it's time to actually grow past that. My sons are dying every day. They're killing each other from not having any sense of worth of life. So really the bickering and those petty differences and fights, Mother doesn't have time for that. And neither does Africa. And Africa's our mother, and Ethiopia is crying out, you know. And unless we do our part and step up, we will be annihilated. And that's also one of our aims, is to save us. Unless we do our part and step up, we will be annihilated. And that's also one of our aims, is to save us from annihilation. So, didn't mean to go off on a little tangent.
Right. No, it's not a tangent. The international, well, Ethiopian World Federation, we've been hearing about the Ethiopian World Federation now for quite some time. And as you just outlined, that presently the organization is in some legal wranglings or some legal proceedings right now. So what do you, in your opinion, what do you feel as the international image of the organization? Because it's been heard about all around the world. But presently, what do you feel like the present image of the organization worldwide really is right now?
Well, the image is not so good right now because we're not doing what, we're mandated to do.
Yes.
For instance, the other day, what occurred in Louisiana and Mississippi, Alabama, and what's going to occur in other places, is we, the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated, that should be stepping up to take care of our people. But because we are not financially and mentally, spiritually at that point, we weren't ready. So, this is the time to be ready. And it's calling on all black people, because when you say Ethiopia, anytime somebody says Ethiopia, it means black people. Black people. Ethiopia means black people. So anytime you say Ethiopian, it means the people, black people. So don't, our people needn't think that Ethiopia is that country. It's not just that country. That's what it moved down to be, that country, but it was the whole entire continent was Ethiopia. And due to the conquest, then the land got smaller. But it's all Ethiopia, and we're responsible for all that. We're responsible for the unity, we're responsible for the solidarity, the liberty, the freedom. These are things not that we just should talk about or have a model city written out all nice and a plan on paper. It's got to be more than on paper. It has to be real. And if it's not real, we will be annihilated as a people. Look at Louisiana, I don't hear anybody crying out that they say there's 1,000, about 1,000 people died in the hurricane in Louisiana and Alabama and Mississippi. That's a lie. We know there's many more people, but nobody cried out and said, that's a joke. So what are we doing as a people? We're sleeping it. We're watching our unpreparedness to take care of ourselves and our own situations.
It seems
sad.
that the masses of our people seem to be in a comfortably uncomfortable state. And the whole inspiration and inborn vibes, or inspiration to really stand up and to do for self, and to unite as a people, it seems that even up to this day, it's not really in the forefront of the mind of our peoples.
Well, you know that here in America, probably one of the worst things that did happen to us was integration. And the integration, the form of so-called integration of being allowed to attend certain things and move into other neighborhoods. What that did was tear down our own neighborhoods and our own businesses, because at that time we had everything. We had our own infrastructures in place.
When in America, when the races were kept separate.
Right.
Okay.
So we had more power, more control of ourselves. Our children, we raised our own children, we educated our own children, so when we sent our children to school and they came back home, they still came back as our children. Now when we send our children to school and they come back home, they're no longer our children. And while our children are, as I say, killing each other, our sons and daughters are killing each other, the real culprit sits back and looks like they're innocent.
So the whole point of of integration, more or less, came in like a sabotage.
Yes, a sabotage.
Sabotage to the people.
Many levels.
In the form of liberty. It came in the form of the guise of freedom, but in actuality, it's a sabotage.
It was a sabotage. In many levels,
Yeah.
Economically, I mean, even in schools, if you look now at your major schools, I mean, let's look in sports, just look in sports in the school. In your major Ivy League schools, there are brothers there. Well, those brothers, couldn't go to those schools. So they were in their own schools. So our schools was definitely whipping those schools.
They call
So you
Ivy
see, well,
League.
the Ivy League was getting whipped. So that broke that down. It broke down our businesses. We had our own insurance company. We had our own everything. because we had to have our own everything. And we knew always how to have our own everything. So integration made us lazy and to forget ourselves.
Right, because you would think at that time, if white doctors didn't want to treat black people, then the black people had no choice but to create their own doctors. If they didn't want to be accepted in the black stores, they had no choice but to create their own businesses and their own banking systems and these type of things.
Right. So we spent money with ourselves. Whereas now, we don't spend money with ourselves. We spend money with ourselves last. So we spend money with others. So that builds others' infrastructures while ours crumbles. It makes us to look like we don't have any money, which is not true.
So what is some of the like the present work that's really going on right now within the organization?
Well, first thing on our agenda is getting a headquarters in Harlem.
The headquarters.
That's very important. The Ethiopian World Federation, as you know, was founded in 1937. In Harlem, that was the headquarters. And it was blacks from, mostly so-called black Americans, but that came to the aid of Ethiopia. And our emperor, through Malaku Bayan, gave us a land grant for the black people of the world. That was to save us from annihilation here in the West. And we must prepare ourselves for that in more than just lip service. So first is to get our headquarters, and once we get our headquarters firm and straight in Harlem, then, as you know, we have international locals that tie in all over the world, and I'm looking forward to the strength, because any program or plans that we have, it's going to take economics for us to do them. And as locals all over the world, we all have things that we can, and items and goods, services that we can trade with one another to build up our economic structure, which would enable us to, as I say, carry out some of those plans, and in repatriating our people to Ethiopia.
Okay. As you speak on the point of repatriation of our peoples to Ethiopia, it's basic a common knowledge that the Ethiopian World Federation has an association or a connection historical with the land in Ethiopia called Shashamani in the Malkoda area. And what do you really see as the president right now in terms of any prospects for repatriation or in terms of resettlement in that Pacific area, even though we know that all of Africa belongs to our people? But in terms of that specific landmass, because the name Shashamani, it has grown to like we would say legendary or mythical proportion. The name Shashamani, it has grown to like we would say legendary or mythical proportion, in that it arouses the curiosity of many people, black, white, or whatever, worldwide, wherein many ones would even feel to even just to see or just to pass through, just to even just see what this place is all about. So in terms of prospects for any concrete and tangible development in that area, how do you really foresee that?
Well, the land grant itself, you see, we didn't develop it. What happened is a few families or a few people would independently go and do a few things on the land, and not very much has been done over the years. And Ethiopia, as is the rest of the world, the rest of the continent, it needs development, it needs work. It doesn't need lip service, it needs concrete development. So what happened is some of the land was taken back and given to the people that were there, who are living on it, because we weren't developing it. So now the president has agreed that we would have access to the same amount of land that we got in the original land grant. And it may not all be in Shashamani, but we still are entitled to all the land. But it still is about development. And in line with development, if you're not going to use the land to build industry, you know, immediately, then at least we should plant food on the land. Because if we plant food on the land, then we could sell that food and distribute it around the world to our people. And that again would help us with development rather than we leave the land and think that somebody's not going to utilize the land. So it's what we're ready for. Are we still ready for just a lip service, or those who have the means, they need to step forward and take their part. And those who don't have all the means, we need to more come together, join the different locals, start a local, because as you know, it takes 25 members to start a local. And as it says in the beginning words of the preamble, it says, we the black people of the world, so that's all black people. So it's the responsibility of all black people, because Louisiana could happen anywhere tomorrow.
So the Constitution basically represents a form of a black government.
Yes, it is a black government.
Okay.
You know, it is a black government, and we as a people must go home as a government, because we're the government to government. How could you go home just like so?
So we're in an effort to learn to rediscover the governing of ourselves.
Yes, and that's difficult for a lot of our people, because we've forgotten that. We forgot a lot of that. You know, we forgot a lot of that while we were out to do for ourselves. So, and we learned to distrust each other. So those are things that we have to work on in healing, even before we go home.
Great. Yes, I really give thanks that you could really spend the time here with us this day. Are there any more words that you would like to really share with our Hartford viewers before we go to our next segment?
Well, just two things I would like to say as a call out to Brother Ronald Pennycook and Ras Adonis in calling for unity of the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated. And I would like to invite all of the listening audience to a show giving at the National Black Theater in Harlem on November 2nd for the coronation of His Imperial Majesty. It will be given by Denroy Morgan and the Morgan Heritage family with guest artists. And it will be a feast also, so we look forward to seeing you at the National Black Theater. It starts at 6 p.m. And give thanks again, Brother Ras Amlak, for having me on your show.
Could you please give our viewers that date again and the location just one more time, please?
Okay, that's November 2nd, Wednesday, at the National Black Theater in Harlem, which is on 5th Avenue between 125th and 126th. It will be given by the Denroy Morgan and the Morgan Heritage family and the Ethiopian and the musical ministry of the Ethiopian Orthodox Coptic Church. And there will be many guest artists, and it will be a feast, and it starts at 6 p.m. Ras Tafari.
Blessed. One love.
Yes, sir.
And I look forward to having you. I come forward again.
Give thanks.
And
I would love that.
Word of encouragement to all those members of the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated, those that are based here in Hartford. Time is to stop the sleeping, rise and shine, or you're going to get your throat cut while you're laying in the bed. Yele I. So that's the first. And I give thanks for the time. Blessed. Aile I. Yes, I. Rastafari. Yes, I. I is I. And I really give thanks for the Iowa with Empress Ima Young being here, present with I came all the way from New York. And I was really well informed on the information as it pertains to what's really going on right now within the Federation. And I look forward to informing and updating our viewers on further activities and also encouraging ones within the Hartford local number 13. Blessed I, Eli, Selassie I the first. So at this time, I would like to go forward to I next portion